That Kid Brand doing another commentary video. These videos are pretty rare. The next time you see one of these, it's probably going to be 6 months after through 2 years. Anyways, today is going to be about how AMD Ryzen CPUs changed the lives of computer users. To its amazing performance, to before and after AMD Ryzen came out, and how it solved the problem of the power consumption of high-end CPUs. Alright, let's get into the video. Oh, you know what? No. Before we get into anything else, let's say what a CPU is. So a CPU is the processor of a computer, and CPU stands for Central Processing Unit. It processes everything in the computer. They are made of transistors, and they are by far the most important part of the computer. These transistors are microscopic. There can be at least 1 billion transistors in each CPU, and CPUs take a while to make it. The CPU processes RAM and inputs and outputs, and gigahertz is the speed of a CPU. Alright, so now that we're done explaining that, so let's talk about the amazing performance AMD Ryzen CPUs give you right now. The best options for CPUs is only AM5 Ryzen CPUs. Well, you could get an AM4, but that's not really that future-proofed. So AMD Ryzen currently has the king of CPUs, being the Ryzen 7 9800X3D with a clock speed of 4.7 GHz and can be overclocked to 5.2 GHz. It has 8 cores and 16 threads. That might seem little, but when you see the benchmarks of the single core and thread performance, yeah. It's DDR5 RAM, aka the best RAM. Yeah, you can see why they call this the king CPU. Now, let's talk about the problem they solved. The AMD Ryzen CPUs are really good at not taking out that much power. Back then, when Intel was the king, their power consumption was way too much, and it still is, and Intel still hasn't fixed it. With their new ones, like, let's see, look at the i9-14900K. The power consumption is 408 watts. 408. That's actually way too much. I mean, like, what? Alright, anyways, let's go back to the king of CPUs. The Ryzen 7 9800X3D has a power consumption TDP of 120 watts. 408 watts versus 120. It's so good. Alright, and another thing, it takes DDR5 RAM, aka the best RAM. Yeah, you can see why they call this the king CPU. Now, let's talk about the problem they solved. The AMD Ryzen CPUs are really good at not taking out that much power. Back then, when Intel was the king, their power consumption was way too much, and it still is, and Intel still hasn't fixed it. With their new ones, like, let's see, look at the i9-14900K. The power consumption is 408 watts. 408. That's actually way too much. I mean, like, what? Alright, anyways, let's go back to the king of CPUs. The Ryzen 7 9800X3D has a power consumption TDP of 120 watts. 408 watts versus 120 watts. That's an insane difference. Think about that. Alright, let's travel back to late 2021, when Ryzen was underrated and Intel was king. The CPU, called the i9-12900K, was released. It still took 241 watts. So Intel just straight up doesn't care. But let's see what AMD was doing when they released the AM4 CPU, Ryzen 7 5700G, which was the best Ryzen CPU at the time, and it did 65 watts. 65 watts versus 241 watts! Yeah, you get the point. I'm pretty sure you get the point now. And AMD solved about how bad integrated graphics are. I'm gonna make this short, but the Radeon graphics is the best integrated graphics. Intel's 600 UHD and stuff like that could never compete. It is matching performance of stuff like the Radeon RX 7700. And that GPU is a beast. It can go to 1440p 144 FPS with no problem, no lag. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Anyways, the point of this is the power consumption was always good on Ryzen and Intel sucks. Bye guys, have a good day. Remember to do skibbity toilet. Alright, hello, this is Dak. It is Dak. Oh my gosh, how did I already mess up? This is the first voice line.
I am the glob glow gab galab, the schwabble double wabble gabble flibber blabber blab. I'm full of schwibble glibber kind. I am the yeast of thoughts and minds. Schwabble double glibber glabber schwibble.